Welcome back to the deep dive. So we got a fascinating suggestion from one of you, Osho's book, From Death to Deathlessness.
Yeah, quite the title. Intriguing, though.
Definitely. And you wanted us to explore it, maybe get a different angle on, well, death. So that's our mission today. Unpack Osho's ideas.
Exactly. See what resonates. I mean, usually death is this big, scary thing we shove under the rug.
Right. Avoid thinking about it at all costs.
But Osho's whole premise is different. He suggests it's maybe more of a transformation, a natural step.
A transformation, not a full stop.
Pretty much. He talks about the physical body being temporary, like a house we live in for a while.
Okay, a temporary house.
But consciousness, sort of resident inside. He argues that continues. It's not tied just to the physical.
That already challenges the usual view, doesn't it? That everything just ends.
Massively. So
Right.
if it's just a transition, why all the fear? Why the, collective freak out?
Yeah, good question. Where does Osho say that comes from?
He points straight at the ego. That sense of I, me, mine.
Ah, the ego.
Yeah.
Our constant companion.
Well, yeah. And it gets really attached to this body, this identity, our life story, all that stuff.
Makes sense.
So the idea of losing the body, losing that identity for the ego, that feels like complete annihilation. The end of everything it knows.
So the ego is basically terrified of losing its job.
You put it that way.
Yeah.
But Osho's counter is, well, maybe that ego, that strong sense of me, is partly an illusion anyway, something we've constructed.
An illusion. Wow, okay. So how do we get past that fear if the ego's running the show?
He talks about realizing our true self, something deeper, more fundamental than the ego and the body.
The true self. What's that like?
He describes it as like this underlying consciousness, eternal, unchanging. It was there before the body, it's there after. It's not the wave, it's the ocean, kind of.
The ocean. Okay,
Yeah.
so recognizing we're the ocean, not just the temporary wave, that's the key.
That's the core of it. If you truly grasp that, the fear of the wave disappearing, it changes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because the ocean reigns. This leads to what he calls deathlessness.
Deathlessness.
Right.
But how do we actually experience that? It sounds pretty abstract when the ego's yelling in our ear.
Yeah, it's not just intellectual. His primary tool for this is meditation.
Okay, meditation. How does that help specifically?
It's about creating space, learning to observe the ego, the thoughts, the body sensations, without automatically identifying with them.
So detaching a bit, watching the show instead of being lost in it.
Exactly. It helps you quiet the ego's chatter and potentially get a glimpse, an experience of that deeper continuous self, that observer.
And does this focus on death change how we should, live?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Osho draws a direct line between the fear of death and not living fully now.
How so?
Well, if you're constantly anxious about the future, about the end, you're not really present, are you? You miss the richness of this moment.
Right. Like worrying about the vacation ending before it's even started.
Perfect analogy. He really emphasizes awareness, living totally in the present moment. Facing the reality of death, paradoxically, helps you live more intensely, more joyfully.
So embracing impermanence actually enhances life.
That's the idea. Now, about that deathlessness
Yeah.
and rebirth.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Does he mean we literally come back as, I don't know, a badger?
Not necessarily in that literal individual way. It's
Yeah.
more about that consciousness, that life energy we talked about.
The ocean energy.
Right. It just continues to flow, to express itself in different forms. The energy doesn't die, it just changes form. That continuous flow is the deathlessness.
Okay, so it's less about me coming back and more about the fundamental energy continuing its dance.
You've got it. It's a subtle but pretty profound shift in perspective.
Definitely gives you something to think about. So for everyone listening, what are the main takeaways here?
I'd say first, this idea that confronting death, not avoiding it, can actually make life richer now. Less fear, more presence.
Okay, makes sense.
Second, the concept that our core essence, this consciousness, is maybe bigger than just our physical body and ego. Something continues.
Right, the ocean idea.
And third, meditation isn't just about relaxation. It's potentially a practical tool to explore these ideas for yourself, to experience that detachment from the ego.
A way to maybe feel that continuity he talks about.
Could be, yeah.
All right. So here's a final thought to chew on. What if you really shifted how you view impermanence? Not as an ending to dread, but just the natural rhythm of things. How might that change the way you approach, well, everything you do today?
Good question to ponder.
Thanks for sharing the source and exploring it with us. Lots to think about there.